All right, game time. We are just about ready now. MaNa is back for his game against Patience. Thank you for your patience as I had to walk you through that signing.
Good job, man.
And now we're ready. First map is going to be Habitation Station once again that we had earlier.
Awesome.
But a great PvP. We had a fantastic one for Patience, really showing his excellence, not only in his long games, but with short games and things.
Yeah.
So that was his defense. So what's MaNa going to use against a player that is good in the late game? He's strong in defense. How can you crack a play like that? He's done it before. Can he do it again here in this qualifier?
Exactly, and it's the only time they've met. So the only time in best-of-3 tournament scenarios, MaNa has won that 2-0. So, and that was not long ago. That was like last week. So, all right, let's jump into game number 1 to find out who is going to advance on to the next round. As we have spawning up to the top left, our Red Protoss. He is MaNa. Now going by You Need MaNa on Twitter, as he is not of mousesports anymore.
That's right. It kind of rolls off the tongue, really. He's been there since the beginning of StarCraft 2 time.
Yeah, it's weird to think of mousesports without MaNa. But there you go. It is a reality. And then we have a player recently joining his new team. It is Alien Invasion's Patience.
All right, so this map, I actually don't think I've played any PvPs on this map. I've seen a couple. I haven't played any yet. I haven't had the chance to.
It's the map where every Protoss is like, you're gonna go Stargate,
yeah,
but then
I've seen that a lot. That's the thing I was gonna say is a lot of people do build one of the pylons, one of the first 3 towards the right hand side of their base, and then just build the Stargate there. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was something quite common within this matchup. I've seen it quite a few times in the games I've seen, not played. But, you know, it is common. It's out there that this is a strategy which is used a lot, so...
We'll have to see what's going to happen from here on out, as MaNa decides to scout out the right-hand side of his base just to make sure there's no crazy proxies happening. MaNa is in a situation right now, not being on a team, where he needs to prove his worth. Like, majorly, more so than many other players. Because the majority of players that are competing today, and in many other tournaments that MaNa competes in, are now all on teams, pretty well established. But being teamless here, the results matter all that bit more for him.
Absolutely, he really needs it. And he hasn't had the best of, let's say, the last 12 months. He hasn't had the best 12 months of his career. Two differences between the two players is that we do have Patience going for the double gas immediately here. And on the other side of things, MaNa took his second gas after, just a little bit after. So we're taking just a little bit after. He clearly doesn't have the same gas income that Patience has, who's mining from both at the moment, fully from both. So MaNa, I think, could use that extra set of minerals for a second gateway. He could. He could use it to go towards maybe an earlier expansion. But on the other side of things, I think it's quite clear here that Patience is most likely just going to do like he did before, go for some kind of one gateway into a decision, whatever that choice is.
Yeah. And, well, MaNa's going to get in here, have a little bit of a look around, look at the gases. Hasn't actually clicked on either of the gases to see how much has been mined, but he sees that there's 3 on either one. So it's a bit of an indication for him to read into later stages of this, as the Stargate gets down and put in plain sight.
Oh, he's... Okay, I thought the Zealot was trapped then. Yeah, in plain sight. Oh, it is trapped.
Where
the
is
Zealot
it?
is trapped.
Oh, yeah, he is.
So he'd have to cancel the Stargate here to get it out. And I think he's got plans to cancel it, especially because it's been seen.
I actually don't think he can even get out from the Stargate way. I think that pylon blocks him in.
Oh, then he won't cancel it. Yeah, it is.
Wow.
He's stuck. That's a bit of a blunder there. A bit of a mistake. So that Zealot, useless, 100 minerals down the drain. A little bit sad there. He's just put it on patrol move because he can. And now the probe has been picked off there.
But the thing is that MaNa saw that that Zealot is trapped. I mean, I don't think he's going to go for something super, super aggressive at this point to try and capitalize on the fact that a Zealot is stuck, but he knows that his opponent has wasted 100 minerals.
Patience, upon being scouted, decided to go for the Robo immediately here, even before an Oracle would be ready, and he can't even afford an Oracle. And MaNa goes in and is going to lose his Mothership Core, and that's actually really smart from Patience, expecting probably the Mothership Core to come across next to see if it is an Oracle or not, to build the Phoenix, then to already set up his future plan, which is going to be from the robotics facility.
Holy moly. Well, at the same time, though, because he threw down the Robo, he didn't have any money for a Stalker.
He hasn't got... I mean, his Mothership Core's on the other side. There's a Stalker in here now as well. This is just a bit of a game, I think, from Patience.
Yeah, it's a really real mishmash.
Cancels the Robo to build another Phoenix because he's not mining.
I mean, good usage of Graviton But at the same time, this pretty much, I would say, gives MaNa the opportunity to get a Nexus down almost for free. I mean, what can Patience really do here from this point? He's not got any more gateways. There's nothing really.
This is just a bit of a disaster, really. This whole game, complete disaster. The Phoenixes are just going to have to do everything for him. They're going to have to carry him on their backs.
Yeah.
They've got to do so much. They have to kill so many probes. It's going to be very difficult to do so. I mean, there's a StarCraft. There'll be a second one in a second.
Basically what he's saying is they can lift, but not lift that much. It's really, really hard for them here.
I mean, he has to keep building Phoenixes at this point. I don't think he can just stop, because where is he going to go? This is a very difficult position, sadly. But with 4 gateways coming down from MaNa, I think MaNa can very easily be quite aggressive from this standpoint.
Yeah.
He's already walking across there. He's realized his opponent's just had a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah. And MaNa, despite not having the best of years, he's still a very smart player. And he can obviously read into everything that he's already seen and feel very comfortable to just press across the map. There's really very little. I mean, yes, there will be a force field to delay this, but there you go, GG.
Yeah, I mean,
nightmare game.
When that kind of happens, you kind of sit back in your chair like this and you just go, whatever. I mean, let's just play another game, because there's times that I'm sure that even you guys at home have played a game, you've just completely messed up, and you're just like, just quit the game and start another one, because it's hardly worth carrying on with so many mistakes like that. A little bit unfortunate for Patience, because in a ladder game, you can just quit and play another one.
Yeah.
At this, you kind of quit and you forfeit 1 game out of a best of 3, and now forcing to win 2 games in a row just through your own mistakes. And it should never be your own mistakes at this level. It should always be your opponent, playing better than you making your own mistakes like this, especially so early on. It's a little bit amateurish from Patience there. But as the case, sometimes players do make mistakes. It happens. It happened there. Patience now can go on to map number 2 and just clear his head and take the challenge onto Frost.
Yeah, he certainly can do. I'm just going to relog, as I did have a little bit of bug there.
So Frost here, 4-player map, can be a little bit more random with the choices that you choose, because it is more difficult to get scanning information out from your opponent. If you want to send out a very early probe, you're going to sacrifice a few minerals to get that scouting information, and then you might not get anything anyway. And it can sometimes play into one player choosing one tech choice randomly, or not really randomly, but going into the game going, I'm going to play Twilight this game. And the other guy going, I'm going to play Stargate this game. And maybe another guy goes, I'm going to play Robot this game. So sometimes it does have that effect. And on a bigger map like this, the 2 gateway style is a little bit more difficult to pull off to get the sense of feel, sense of direction to where your opponent might be going, because Stalkers have to walk a long, 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 long way.
We do.
And if you get caught out guard by maybe a proxy Stargate, an Oracle could come into your base, your units are scouting on the other side.
Gotta be careful.
A couple of complications when it comes to bigger maps here, which is why we do see the bigger maps usually vetoed out, like Altazim, or maybe Frost gets vetoed out a couple of times in PvP. But we'll see what's going to happen. Of course, anything, absolutely anything is possible from these 2 players. Could even see, maybe not a cannon rush, but a double gateway. I don't know. Anything's possible.
Whatever they want to do. Now, I'd say it's a good point that you bring up, though, about maps like Altazim Malta, the bigger ones, because I think, just in general, that map across most matchups is getting vetoed quite a lot, because, the 3-base dynamic, the way they're spread out, can always be a bit scary in some matchups. But, guys, let's jump into game number 2. To find out if MaNa can take the 2-0 once again, as he spawns down to the bottom left. Or if up to the top left, we can see Patience bring it back 1-1.
Can he do it? He has to do it. He has to do it here. And this is just the round of 16. This is not even the qualification round, properly rounds, as in not the big game that matters. Of course, every game matters, but to decide who moves on tomorrow is the next game after this.
And, Patience, I mean, he gets 1 chance at qualifying for this tournament. So he got 1 chance in the wildcard qualifiers for WCS Europe. He gets 1 chance to qualify for Cologne, and if both times he gets eliminated by MaNa, we may end up seeing a little bit of a nemesis evolving when it comes to MaNa against Patience. But that's a tough spot to be in, and having to take 2 maps against a player like MaNa, who is still very good in the matchup regardless of screw-ups there by Patience. This is going to be tough for him, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, at this kind of level, no matter who you are, it's always going to be difficult when your opponent just has 1 game to win and you got 2. I mean, MaNa's got the proper mindset probably in this position, where he's like, all right, cool, I can be relaxed. I don't need to make my own mistakes. I don't need to feel pressured that I'm having to win 2 games in a row rather than my opponent. Maybe he does make mistakes. Maybe I can take a couple of risks here with this game advantage that I have. But we do see, coming out, again, a similar style from both players. It looks like MaNa's going for the one gas and then the second one after, whereas on the other hand, we should be seeing the double gases at the same time, but a little bit later on here from Patience. Same openings from both players. Leads to similar places. Of course, there is a little bit of a, MaNa does, okay, no, it is at the same time. MaNa does throw down that second gas. Does lead to a little bit of a mineral advantage for MaNa. But still, this can go anywhere from this point. So we just have to kind of wait a little bit here to decide what they're going to do.
Can do. The 7-8 score will land here for Patience.
No blocked zealots this time.
No, he's making sure that that is not going to happen. That's very important. And, well, aside from that, Patience sent out his probe scout very, very early on. So he does lose a little bit of mining time. And unfortunately for him, he runs the unlucky risk of scouting his opponent out at the very last position. So he loses far more mining time than MaNa does, who's already spotted his opponent. Yeah,
he spotted his opponent, but he wasn't in all gas of all 3 immediately. Just now really kind of going in there, but still only in there with 2, kind of 3, kind of popping in and out. But he's chosen, no matter what, we look at the small details, double gateway. With a Stalker now being made, we'll see 3 Stalkers probably, unless he chooses to go for the double sentry. That is a possibility, with the double gas being mined so fast from both of these assimilators, to go for an expansion build. But MaNa with some really good information, and hopefully here, with his Mothership Core about to pop out, can deny his opponent from gathering anything. And unfortunately for Patience, did go the other way compared to MaNa, who went straight up here. So that is the advantage which MaNa does get. But the probe
gets in.
Gets in here.
Yeah.
And we'll have a look-see around.
He's going to have a look and sees not a whole lot. But, I mean, sees the kind of lack of tech on that bottom side and knows that there's probably going to be something thrown down. It will be the Stargate choice here from MaNa.
Double Stalkers coming out here from Patience, so he is going up for 3 Stalkers in total. He can go up for the 4th and 5th if he wants to really ramp up the pressure while adding on a 3rd gateway, or he can still expand from this as well, or even throw down a tech choice. So multiple options, but MaNa now, upon going Stargate off just with a single gateway, has to be very careful with his units, like so.
Yeah, it certainly does.
And he loses 1 Stalker to nothing here. Patience wins the small little battle, and with extra gateways behind this,
I mean,
extra units, sorry.
The one slight compensation for that was the fact that he did force his opponent to throw down Time Warp, which then can't be used later on if in a bigger unit engagement.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
But of course, the Patience can't really break his opponent's main base because there is the Photon Overcharge. And this Oracle that's coming out could really sting his opponent. And something I mentioned before, when you play this style and there is an Oracle coming, which he's now spotted, you have to make sure your defense is set at home.
That was a lovely little movement with that Stalker, just to spot at the back as well there.
He needs to finish Warpgate research and then just build 2 Stalkers immediately because he's going to have this Oracle over there soon.
And, well, his Nexus has started up, and these Stalkers trying to poke on out and do get the Mothership Core. If he micros these Stalkers properly, then he could do quite a lot of damage to Patience's numbers. Will lose 1 Stalker for 1, but in the grand scheme of things, he should be able to keep his Mothership Core alive.
Yeah, nice little fight there, but of course we do have a bit of an edge there once again for Patience, but the Oracle's there. 2 Stalkers were warped in. 1 probe. Only a single.
Oh, tried to get the one that was diving into that assimilator, so.
And the Nexus is almost finished here for Patience.
Yeah. Now, what's MaNa going to do from here? He's sending a probe down to throw down his Nexus.
Yeah, MaNa built a robotics facility there because he's playing very safe, of course. With a robotics facility, he could have started an observer in case behind the 2 gateways, which he didn't know a Nexus or the 4th or 5th unit was built. Could have been a Twilight Council, could have been DT, so it's very safe in that regard. Could have been Blink. Had the robotics facility because he had plans to expand anyway. But Patience, being the one with the aggressive nature, is able to get a lot of info and has the right choices with his build here through gathering this information nice and early.
Whoa, has to be careful. Oh, he ends up losing that Oracle. So really good unit spread there by Patience to make sure that that was not going to get away. And eliminating that Oracle at this point really leaves Patience in a phenomenal position because took his Nexus way faster and not having to worry too much about that Oracle defense. It's brilliant.
He's chosen Blink here, Patience has.
And then
no,
changes.
he's changed over to Zealot Charge. With Zealot Charge here, he also, by the way, did spot that the Immortal production had already begun, and that there was the robotics facility. He could have played a very weird, aggressive blink play from 2 bases, which is timings that players like Baby Knight or Titan like to hit. But going over to Zealot Charge is a lot more common here. Sometimes you don't see Zealot Charge immediately, you see the Templar Archives come to play a little bit faster. But with Zealot Charge here, it means that MaNa has to play a defensive game, and he probably most likely has to go up towards the robotics bay quite fast. Of course, a lot of Zealots, great against Immortals, great against what MaNa has. The best thing he could build against the heavy Zealots is, of course, the robotics bay. So that is going to come down here upon gathering the information that the most likely Zealot Charge is being researched here, and the game goes on.
Game goes on, you are correct. As well, aside from that, MaNa was able to spot fully everything. There is a pylon down to the bottom position here for Patience to use if, say, the third goes down. He wants to warp in a few Zealots maybe to try and put on some harassment. But for now, this game, as you rightly pointed out, is going to go on a little bit longer. There's really not huge amounts of mid-game timings, I feel, in PvP. Once you get past those earlier stages, it really goes on, more so than not, to a very, very long game.
Yeah, it's this is where it becomes the most fun for a lot of players, I think, at this stage. Scouting each other, finding out what you're doing something different yourself. And with MaNa choosing the robotics bay, as mentioned, he's going to have to play a very slow game. For all of it, there is no really timings he can hit at all, unless his opponent was taking a third base right now and there could be an opportunity presents itself. But obviously with Colossus, you have to play this out quite slowly, I'd imagine. But as we see, there is no Colossus being built. There is no Thermal Lance. And this could easily trick his opponent. He's got a pylon on the other side. He's moving out here. This is a nice little trick play.
Ooh. Yeah, and without blink, those stalkers that straight on forwards.
Yeah, he doesn't really have a lot here.
Ooh.
Patience doesn't.
That one sentry that he just got almost had full energy.
He's out going to have to chrono boost his gateways here. He's got to be very, very careful. Of course, if he had that sentry, he could be able to force field twice here.
The one problem is that pylon, the reinforcing pylon for MaNa, is very, very far away, so it's going to be hard to put on a full-on assault.
It's also going to be hard to break his opponent too. I mean, there's a chance where he could snipe the Nexus. He can always recall out here, which is the best case, but remember Zealot Charge is still there, which is a great upgrade against the composition that MaNa has. MaNa's got to play. I don't think he can do this.
No.
It was definitely an opportunity, but he's got to be careful here. Yeah.
Has to recall out there. He would have lost a lot there. And during all of that, I mean, MaNa knew that Patience has 2 Robos, which are probably going to be churning out double Colossi. Double Immortal at this point would have been a little bit suspicious. But MaNa has to kind of catch up now. He's adding on his own Robo.
Yeah.
And Patience is keeping an eye on his opponent's third whilst getting his own.
Interesting move there by MaNa. Definitely could have worked in some scenarios if Patience wasn't quite prepared for that. But of course he was. So the game goes on here. And I'd say Patience in a pretty decent position. Third base down. Double Colossus out. +2 attack already been researched because the Twilight Council's a little bit slower there. For MaNa, that is.
And that pylon for MaNa up in the top right is so well executed because it's just outside of Watchtower range.
Yeah.
So MaNa knows exactly where he's placing that whenever he wants to put on that little bit of aggression.
All right, so let's have Patience out here, not really looking to achieve too much. Just going to run away, recall away.
That was the longest sentry beam of all time, but there you go.
Really needs to put a third base down. Unless he's trying to hit a time. He's adding gateways.
I think it's always going to be hard, though, right?
But he can't. There's no timing to hit, exactly.
Yeah.
So he has to throw this third down. I think it's just because his money's a little bit high, to be honest. I'm looking at it. He wants to throw his third down. He added the extra gateways. Temper Archives coming down. Zealot Charges, all long-term structures and upgrades.
And at the same time, you know, with Patience, you know, having that Zealot down to the bottom, and he even sees a probe now there as well, which he's going to kill off if he's not
MaNa
careful.
sees the third Nexus finished here. That must not be a happy feeling.
Yeah, true.
He sees additional gateways being added on to complement the third Nexus, which is down already. MaNa is falling a little bit behind in this game. I think this has always been one of his biggest weaknesses, is that he's always too safe, too defensive, wanting not to die to all-ins. But he's moving out now to try to punish this. See if he can do anything. Of course, the recall's always there to come back, so it's not as dangerous as it would have been in Wings of Liberty, for example. But if he can maybe get something done here while expanding himself, he'd be in good shape, but I don't think that's going to be possible, especially because Patience sees this.
Yeah, exactly. That control of the Watchtower is so important here for Patience. And meanwhile, he warps in Zealots as his opponent is way out of position. So that one control of the Watchtower has been a great, great move here for him. If he can deny this third base from ever even going up, this is phenomenal for Patience. Wait, where's his army gone?
It's at the natural here, and I'm not too sure why. Did he not feel confident in being able to defend this?
I guess not. I mean, the natural for MaNa is being ransacked by Double Immortal as well as Zealot, but he is going to lose his third.
I guess in trade-off, if you think about it, he's like, all right, you kill my third, I'll stop your third, and also do a lot of damage to your natural.
Yeah, and ooh, needs to pick up those 2 Immortals and run away.
Yeah.
But he killed off a few workers.
Yeah, I think that was decent there. It was decent. I think that it was more complicated than it needed to be.
Yeah.
I think that if he'd maybe just gone to defend his third while stopping the third of MaNa's would have been the simpler version. But that was a bit of a complicated set of moves.
And, well, save an extractor, da-da. But apart from that, MaNa now has to retreat on back and try and get his third base again. Meanwhile, so is Patience. It's almost as if everything's kind of just been reset. I mean, aside from the fact that we have the +3 weapons out a little bit quicker for Patience,
yeah,
I think that was more of a reset button than anything.
Yeah, it was a little bit weird there, the way that Patience played that. And I think that probably playing it just the simpler version probably would have gave him a bit of a lead.
Yeah.
As you said, it has kind of equalized a little bit when it comes to their economy and their upgrades and armies. Very, very similar. But these 2 Immortals doing quite a bit there. They've got quite a few probes.
There's like no Stalkers in MaNa's army, so it's very difficult to end up pushing that away like on the long term. Can't really close the distance or anything.
All right, what is Patience looking to do here? He's moving down, right? +3 attack, not too far away from finished. His army strength is a little bit better than MaNa's, but not far away, quite similar. There are 2 Immortals difference, though, between the 2 of them. That's always nice to have. Then it looks like he's going to pick up the 4 Zealots of the Warp Prism, drop them into the main, I'd imagine, and then try to come down to this third. But the Lucerne Finish did spot Patience's army.
And he's also spotted the Warp Prism down to the bottom right as well. So now he knows he has to prepare for such kind of attacks.
Yeah, it's going into the main. It's this beautiful little move here. And if he can get to this third...
The 2 Stalkers that MaNa actually has are there to try and deny.
It's going to be a fight.
Meanwhile, big fight indeed.
Great fight for MaNa. Great fight. Caught his opponent trying to move down there.
Oh, and he actually catches a few Archons for free off the back of that as well. Those double time warps really sealed the deal on a few of those Colossi. And meanwhile, though, Patience is going to go to town with a few Zealots in his opponent's main, but that one Colossus is really helping out.
MaNa picked off 1 or 2 Colossus, and as you said, a couple of Archons there. He's feeling confident with the army because of that move to go for a fight himself.
Oh, a good retreat out there from MaNa with this one Colossus. Does keep that alive. As you rightly pointed out, he is moving up to that top right-hand corner. Patience has to evacuate.
Yeah, he kill it easily, and he killed the army too if he came to defend. Great move.
As does MaNa have to retreat from his third base as well, knowing there's a lot of Zealots there. Needs to keep this Colossus alive because he's going to deal with it, but those Zealots get picked up. He's going to drop them around the Colossus to try and catch it, but there's a few Zealots helping him out as well, so nice control there by MaNa.
MaNa's just going to go for the kill.
Will it work? How many Colossus does he have? He has 7 against 5. 6 actually present here in the current fight. We see a really nice concave for Patience in the end, with Time Warp slowing down a lot on the high ground. But at the same time, are those Immortals going to be able to bust through for MaNa? If they do, they're going to break the line of those Colossi at the back, and they will do, as MaNa, there you go, GG. 2-0 against Patience again.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good game that. I mean, really, really back and forth game.
Very, very nicely done. And MaNa continues on defeating Patience and eliminating him from tournaments. That was a tough position there for Patience. But as you pointed out, slightly strange decisions in that mid game. Not ones that I was really expecting to see. And I think that Patience could have kind of capitalized a little bit better has he made different ones.
I think he could have. I think it really came to that Warp Prism play that was the biggest difference between, being in a leading position and having the game tied up a little bit more. Because it really was. That game, more so than others that I've seen in PvP, was kind of back and forth a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And one time or 1 minute, there's one player winning, then the other player's winning. And it really did feel like that.
A tough situation there for Patience as he goes out of the tournament. MaNa advances on.
Yeah.
Again, still teamless guys out there. Still teamless. You could sponsor MaNa yourself and then be... that's a little bit difficult, but anyway, let's take a quick look at the brackets, guys, to fill you in on exactly what's been going on elsewhere. As you can see, Jakshi is going to play against Elfie, who defeated Morrow, and then Tefel is still waiting for the winner of... Let's just refresh this. I did a second ago, but no extra updates right now. So MaNa is going to play against either LiveZerg or Sort of, and the only Korean representative that we have left is Jakshi.
This is true. I'm actually... outside of the bracket, I'm just actually trying to load into the game because I want to have a look at it. I think why not have a look together?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Kind of the position that we saw Patience in to the position there where MaNa started to equalize up the game. So I'm just fast forwarding through this replay as you do, and we're about to have very shortly the move forward. We'll have a look at my screen in a couple of seconds time here through this. And okay, so if we come over to my screen, we'll have a little bit of a look. This is a bit hipster. This is a bit retro. Got my graphics turned off and no sound on.
Delightful.
But I want to have a look because right now, I'm just showing you exactly where we are. We're at 14-minute mark, right? We have the Warp Prism just now chosen to be built. We have MaNa, who's just trying to get his third base up versus Patience, who's got his third up and running. The economy is similar when it comes to probe count, or should I say the probe count is similar. The economy is going to change quite drastically with the addition of these two gases. And then as MaNa only just planting that down, there's quite a big difference between the both of them. But here's MaNa's push out. He's obviously seen at this moment that this third's just gone down. He's seen the extra deck gateways just about to kick in. He's only just thrown his third down. He's in a bit of a position where if he sits back, his opponent's going to have 3 base saturation a lot faster than he can, which means bigger army, stronger army, better upgrades, more money. But then there's this decision. So the 2 Immortals, I don't mind. I think that's okay. Is it the 2 Immortals here, which maybe he's scared of because he's taken 2 Immortals away, which 4.
Yeah,
4 versus 0. Is that the real reason here? Because it all happened very, very fast in the game.
Yeah.
That he didn't want to take this fight. Did he ever see this movement out is the next question I want to ask.
And
I think he may have.
Did he have 3 to 4 Colossi there? Because as well, it's if you're going 4 Colossus and 4 Immortals versus 3 Colossus and no Immortals, your army's actually just going to get shredded.
Okay, so he saw the movement out. He knows his opponent's coming. He knows he just got scouted. So his decision here is to go for the Warp Prism, pick up the 2 Immortals. In the first of all, he didn't necessarily need to do that right then, did he? Because he could have had the 2 Immortals together. Army strength is in favor 76 to 66, but missing 2 Immortals. So if you look at the tab at the top left, 5 Colossus to 4. For MaNa's got a Colossus lead. He has 4 Immortals to 0. And I think that's the main reason here. And I wanted to look at this because this was one of the things that confused me a little bit why it happened so fast. That's it. That's the main reason, Colaris. I figured it out.
Thank you very much. Sensei
MaNa
Apollo
comes out. He wants to destroy this base because he knows he's behind. At this point, Patience realizes he can't fight. He's a Colossus behind. He's 2 Immortals behind. And decides to try this instead while trying this, which I think is a decent little play. Which does equalize up the game. But at the end, MaNa was able to kind of deflect it while picking up the third, coming back to defend. And the end result is, yes, both thirds got cancelled. He goes to take another one. And at the end, it is, as mentioned, a closer game.
Yeah.
But it was the right decision from Patience.
All right. Well,
And then the game continues on from this point.
that solves that.
Yeah, I was...
But it's a really tough decision to end up making.
It's a strong decision, yeah. But I think it is right
Yeah,
because he would have lost the fight. Because he was 1 Colossus down, 4 Immortals down.
And I think that probably stems from the fact that he realized that his opponent had a Robo pretty early compared to him, right?
Yeah.
So that Immortal production was always going to be... Well, the Immortal number was always going to be there.
Cool.
All right.
I like doing that.
That was nice. Thank you very much.
What's our next game? Because you've actually jumped into one.
Jakshi versus Elfie.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I do like that. I do like the sounds of that.
They asked me if I wanted it in the lobby, and I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I want that.
This is the game, well, one of the games that we may, we hopefully, depending on how it works out, have another one of these. But this is a qualification game now for Stage 2.
Yes, it is.
This is the quarterfinals. This is the round of 8. There are 4 players that move on to Stage 2. And one of these is going to move on. One of them gets knocked out, unfortunately. Will not make it to the Intel Extreme Masters Cologne tournament.
A tough spot to be in. Very tough spot. Okay, so for our first map is actually going to be Frost between these guys. Are you in the lobby? Yes, you are.
Ready?
All right, we are ready to get into this series.
Yeah, this is going to be good.
All right.
Do you think Elfie can beat him? Do you think Elfie's got tricks up his sleeves?
If there's any European that can beat Jack-G, it's Elfie.
If there's any European that can make it deep and knock out Koreans, it's Elfie, right?
Somehow, some way.
All right.
Don't know how he does it, man.
It's on you.
He's a... Oh, it is on me. Sec. Oh, Elfie said a second, so...
Okay.
Tell me when ready.
So we've already seen Jack-G play against Fnatic's Pink, the Academy player, and it was just, you know, just domination. It was everything he wanted to do. He did it, and he did it right and smooth. His macro was fantastic. Didn't miss a supply depot. Didn't miss any rounds of units. Had a massive army, really, really fast, and that's what a good Terran player can do. And now that we've seen Jack-G's strengths, can he bring those same Titan strengths into the game? Can he be that kind of God-style type player, or is Elfie gonna be the one to slay a god?
A lot of people say Elfie is God.
They do.
This is... Oh, I can never take him seriously sometimes. But he is Elfie somehow, some way. He finds a way. Let's jump into game number 1, guys.